So you say you go in and you look at fixing businesses' processes along the way. What are some of the process? Talk about that a little bit.
Okay, cool. I'll give you an example. So I have a client of mine that's in the construction business. They do some like very specialized, unusual construction, and they know me from a long time ago. And they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, can you help us? We're having problems in our business." And so I said, "What kind of problems?" So they began talking about problems with billing, problems with HR, and so they went down the list. I'm like, "Wow, it's like every single like silo in your business is like seems like you're struggling."
Mhm.
So I went into their company, took me 3 months, and I interviewed everybody in the company, mostly the high level people, and I reverse engineered by documenting the existing processes. So I would say to finance, okay, tell me every single thing that you do in finance. How does finance run? How do you invoice? How do you collect? What is it QuickBooks that you're using? Fine. What are the workflows in QuickBooks? Tell me every problem you have. Tell me everything you do that you feel like you're wasting time. Tell me what takes up the most of your time. And I did that in every single part of their business. And when I was done, I must have 20 pages of these Visio workflow drawings. And I'm like highlighting, here's where you're losing time. Here's where you're losing time. And when it was all said and done, I said, look, this is really two things. There's people problems. You have the wrong people in the wrong positions. You have to define roles better. And I said, you have process problems, meaning that you're not even using the right systems. So I said, when I had the list of things from finance, from sales, from marketing, from operations, and I didn't know their construction business, but I know enough to know how to see the breakdowns and workflows and processes to
Mhm.
say, here's all your gaps. We have to fill the gaps. And we filled the gaps, which is most often the case, by getting a really solid piece of software that handled each part of that organization's workflows, and then taking all of and redesigning the workflows one section at a time, and then putting one new process in, well, put the system in place, and then we put the new processes in place, and we spent weeks training everybody. um, this is years ago. They still run the business the same exact way that I designed for them, and I've done that for so many people. It has nothing to do with IT. That's just something that I do for people because I'm good at it. But the same thing applies when I do something for somebody technology wise. We're doing the same thing. We're looking at what the problem is, what the risks are, assessing it, and then filling the gaps with some solution. It's just that I can do it for an entire I can walk into any company, reverse engineer solutions, and solve their problems. I'll give you one more quick example. I have an existing client who is in the I don't want to like I don't want to give them away. They're in the business of like the garment business, like the cleaning business. And they have a lot of trucks on the road, and they're doing pickups and drop offs, and they're washing things. And they really were like struggling with how to be profitable. So I said to the owner, who we do cloud for, I'm like, listen, do me a favor. I'm not going to charge you anything. Just work with me. Give me like 2 days of your time. Come into my office. Let's get in front of a whiteboard, and let's reverse engineer all your processes. And we did it. And I found he didn't recognize it. I found where he was losing $500,000 a year in revenue.
Holy cow.
And I pointed it out to him, and he was like, oh my God, how do we fix it? I said, you have the software already in place to run your business. You need to put some workflows in here and here and here to create accountability, to track better where people are, how long they're spending, how many times they have to run back to your shop because they forgot something on a truck, which goes back to a loading the truck workflow. I took him through all this, and I'm like, it's $500,000 easily. You can start that process tomorrow. Just fix these workflow problems. So that's what I do.
I love that because it's really just like that little tweak, right? That millimeter of change in the workflow or in the system, and then $500,000 change, right? I mean, that's awesome.
I don't know if he did it actually, but I gave him all the information.